this is Dr. Emma Hitt-Nichols, and this is the latest information on the U.S. FDA approvals from July 1st through July 5th, 2024. First up this week, the FDA has approved Donanemab, that's also called Kisunla, for the treatment of early symptomatic Alzheimer's disease, marking the third addition to a new class of drugs aimed at slowing cognitive decline in patients in the early stages of the disease. Branded as Kisunla by Eli Lilly, Donanemab's approval comes after years of setbacks and delays despite promising clinical trials. Eli Lilly has stated that the drug will be available within weeks following the approval. Donanemab is part of the anti-amyloid monoclonal antibodies class, which works by targeting and reducing the buildup of amyloid plaques in the brain, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. The approval was based on the findings from clinical trials demonstrating significant benefits in slowing cognitive decline in patients with early symptomatic Alzheimer's disease. Despite initial concerns about long-term safety, the FDA Advisory Committee ultimately voted unanimously in favor of the drug's benefits, outweighing its risks. The FDA granted the approval of Donanemab to Eli Lilly. Also this week, the FDA approved Bedaquiline, also called Sirturo, for the treatment of multidrug-resistant pulmonary tuberculosis in adults and children aged 5 years and older, weighing at least 15 kilograms. Sirturo initially secured accelerated FDA clearance for use in adults in 2012, followed by label expansions to include adolescents in 2019 and children in 2020. The European Medicines Agency, EMA, granted conditional approval in 2014. Applications for full approval were filed with the US and EU regulators in August and November last year, respectively, with a positive EU advisory panel stance in April. Bedaquiline is notable for being the first TB medication with a novel mechanism of action introduced in over 40 years. It works by inhibiting mycobacterial ATP synthase, essential for energy production in Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The approval was based on findings from the Phase 3 STREAM Stage 2 study, which evaluated an all-oral Sirturo-based regimen in around 200 patients with multidrug-resistant tuberculosis, including those with rifampicin-resistant and isoniazid-sensitive infection. Results showed a significant improvement in treatment outcomes with the Sirturo-based regimen compared to injectable-containing regimens. The FDA and the European Commission granted the approval of Bedaquiline to Janssen, a Johnson & Johnson company. And now a word from the supporter of this podcast, Learn AMA Style. If you're someone who writes about medicine and science, say you're an MD, PhD, medical writer, or pharmaceutical industry person, then you need to visit learnamasstyle.com. At that website, there are several free downloads that will help you implement AI reliably into your work, as well as a downloadable list of prompts that you can use and a free course on implementing AI in writing. Check it all out at learnamasstyle.com. That's learnamasstyle.com. So it was a little light this week due to the July 4th holiday in the US, and so I'm reporting on an article that was published on Biopharma Dive, and that was published last week regarding 5 FDA decisions to watch for in the third quarter of this year. First of all, we have a novel antipsychotic medication, KarXT, not to be confused with CAR T-cell therapy, being developed by Karuna Therapeutics, and that's nearing approval for schizophrenia. KarXT has demonstrated efficacy in 2 large placebo-controlled trials with patients experiencing substantial reductions in symptom severity within a 5-week treatment period. KarXT works by stimulating a protein that regulates the release of acetylcholine, a crucial neurotransmitter for brain function. This mechanism of action sets it apart from older antipsychotics, which often cause adverse effects such as excessive weight gain, restlessness, and movement disorders. KarXT appears to have a more favorable profile compared to existing medications. Clinicians anticipate that KarXT will be an appealing choice for patients with schizophrenia who frequently change medications due to inadequate symptom control or intolerable side effects. However, there are concerns that insurance providers may be reluctant to cover the new drug given the availability of numerous generic and low-cost antipsychotics. The FDA is expected to decide on KarXT Comirnaty's approval by September 26, 2024, Bristol Myers Squibb, which recently acquired Karuna for $14 billion, will be responsible for the drug's launch if approved. Also coming up for approval in the next couple of months is a novel version of MDMA, the active ingredient in the illegal drug ecstasy, is being explored as a potential treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Lykos Therapeutics, formerly known as MAPS Public Benefit Corp., is pursuing the development of this agent and has secured a series of patents to protect its proprietary formulation of MDMA. 2 late-stage clinical trials have evaluated MDMA-assisted talk therapy for patients with moderate to severe PTSD. The studies, which lasted 18 weeks and involved 3 treatment sessions, demonstrated that patients who received MDMA experienced a significantly greater reduction in PTSD symptom severity compared to those who received talk therapy alone. Lykos has hoped that these trial results would be sufficient to secure FDA approval for MDMA, potentially making it the first psychedelic-assisted therapy to receive regulatory clearance. However, the company's prospects for approval have diminished following a recent meeting of FDA advisors. The advisory panel voted almost unanimously against recommending the drug, expressing concerns about its safety profile and the manner in which Lykos conducted the clinical trials. Although the FDA is not obligated to follow the recommendations of its advisory panels, it typically does so, suggesting that the chances of approval for MDMA-assisted therapy have decreased. The agency is expected to render its decision by August 11, 2024. Another drug that's coming up for approval is seladelpar, which is under consideration for the treatment of primary biliary cholangitis, PBC. Approximately 130,000 individuals in the United States have PBC. Gilead recently acquired seladelpar through the purchase of Cymabay, Cymabay. If approved by the FDA's target decision date of August 14th, seladelpar would broaden Gilead's liver disease portfolio beyond its current focus on hepatitis. PBC is a chronic and progressive autoimmune liver disease that primarily affects the small bile ducts within the liver. The disease leads to the gradual destruction of these bile ducts, resulting in bile accumulation in the liver, which over time can lead to fibrosis and cirrhosis. Currently, 2 other drugs are approved in the U.S. for the treatment of PBC. One of them is Intercept Pharmaceuticals' Ocaliva, I'm not sure which. Generic name is obeticholic acid. And then also Ipsen's recently cleared Iqirvo, elafibranor. In clinical trials, seladelpar, a peroxisome proliferator activated receptor, PPAR, delta agonist, has demonstrated efficacy in reducing the itching associated with PBC. And then another drug up for approval is Transcon PTH, which is a therapy developed by Ascendis Pharma, and that's designed to provide a replacement form of parathyroid hormone for the estimated 77,000 individuals in the U.S. who suffer from hypoparathyroidism, a rare endocrine disorder that causes low calcium levels and other health issues. The drug is based on Ascendis' proprietary Transcon technology, which allows for the fine-tuning of a medicine's properties for optimal delivery. Phase 3 study results have demonstrated that approximately 79% of trial participants treated with Transcon PTH achieved normal calcium levels, with most not requiring vitamin supplements after treatment. While Ascendis has already secured approvals for the drugs in Europe and the UK, the company has faced challenges in the US. The FDA initially rejected Transcon PTH in 2023 due to manufacturing concerns, and later delayed its decision by 3 months after Ascendis provided additional information which the agency considered a major amendment to the application. Well, all right. Well, let's hope that it goes better for them. A final decision from the FDA is expected by August 14th, 2024. And finally, upcoming, along with many others that I'm not speaking about, but we've got AFAB Cell, which is a T-cell receptor, TCR cell therapy, designed to treat synovial sarcoma, a rare soft tissue cancer, and that's awaiting FDA approval. AFAB Cell is an engineered T-cell receptor T-cell therapy targeted to the MAGE-A4 cancer target and designed as a single-dose treatment for advanced synovial sarcoma. The biologics license application submission for AFAB Cell was supported by clinical data from the SPEARHEAD-1 pivotal trial, which has met its primary endpoint for efficacy. The FDA's decision on AFAB Cell is expected by August 4th, 2024. AFAB Cell is being developed by Adaptimmune Therapeutics. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for listening, and please do tell your colleagues if you think they might be interested. New FDA Approvals podcast, you can search for it on Apple iTunes, but wherever podcasts are published. All right, thanks so much. Have a great week.